Hey, if you've ever been interested in listening on the radio, and I mean ham radio, law enforcement agencies, anything to do with any type of municipality, anything like that, or becoming a ham radio operator and talking to other enthusiasts, you got to get into one of these cheap Chinese radios. I've been using one of these radios for almost 15 years now. The Baofeng radio systems are pretty darn good for the money. Yes, it is a Chinese radio. There's no way to get around it. But for the money, you can't beat it. We used to use these radios on fire operations way back. And we used to use BK radio before the digital came in and all that. They worked great. We used them to keep track of other people on the crew and just basically 100% of the time monitor where our crew was, where the engine crews were. Everybody could afford to have a radio on the crew at the time, which was awesome. Guys, we were getting these for almost $20, like 22 bucks on Amazon years ago, and they were a hit. Everybody had to have one. People were making bug out backpacks, and the first thing they'd put in there is one of these. They are old school, very simple to use.
Frequency mode.
They've got two bands here. You can listen to one and talk on another, vice versa. They got a flashlight. They got an AM/FM radio. The keys are very simple. I've dropped these radios down a ravine. I've gotten them in water. They are indestructible. So this radio right here, this is a UV5R. This will do anywhere from, let's say, frequency range of VHF and UHF, which is 136 through 174 megahertz, which is 2 meter on the VHF band. And it will also do UHF on 70 centimeter, which is 400 through 512, roughly, in the frequency range, which is upper UHF. Most of your stuff in the United States is probably run off of VHF, currently digital and analog. Now this is only a radio that picks up analog. Folks, a good reason to get into these radios is because if you do a lot of stuff outside, you're an outdoorsman, maybe you go camping all the time, the kids run off, whatever it is, you got to have walkie-talkies to keep in contact with each other. Maybe you're a hunter. Maybe you don't plan on using one of these, but you should pack one in case you get lost out in the woods, because your cell phone that's charged all the way up might not do you any good, especially down in a ravine far away from civilization and no repeaters. If there are personnel looking for you after you've been out there several days, you can always turn on your radio, flip to the frequencies if you were savvy with frequency, and remember exactly what frequency set a place and search and rescue should be on. Bingo, you've got them on the radio, you can locate where they're at. It's a good thing to have. Now, some people, guys, I gotta tell you, you do not, and there's a big misconception here, I've been hearing it about years and years and years. People, you do not, and I mean do not, have to have any special license to own this radio or use it. And I mean by that is monitoring. You can have one of these radios without any type of license and be completely fine. And in an emergency, like I said, if you're lost, you can use it. It will save your life. A good thing to have for 20 to 30 bucks in your backpack. Now, if you want to become a hobbyist and actually talk on the, let's say, the 440 band or the 144 or some of the ham radio operators on 2 meter and 70 centimeter, then you got to have your ham license. But if you just want to monitor and listen to like local law enforcement, maybe fire, ambulance service, whatever it may be, got to get one of these. It is the best thing you can do. A lot of people are into scanners these days. And, 15 years ago when these radios came out, they were still almost as good as the scanners that they had back then. You don't want to spend the money and read through the booklet that's that deep to figure out how to master your scanner? Get one of these. You can listen to all the frequencies, just about all the frequencies anyway, that you can pick up on a scanner for 25 bucks. Now, this is UV5R, one of the most indestructible radios that they've ever made. I still have one. I got my original one from all that time ago, and it still works. They are tough. I've dropped them off a rock ravine, dropped them in the water. They don't quit. Now, they've got a nice new one called the UV32, which is a really nice radio. Let me show you this.
Frequency mode.
It's got all kinds of options. This one's got GPS. This one's also got an AM/FM radio mode, which we won't ever need, but it does come with two of my favorite things. It's got a really nice holster, which is awesome, kind of like almost like a gun holster type thing, very heavily built. Cool thing about this radio is it's got an SMA, excuse me, not an SMA, a USB-C cell phone charger in the back. So you can charge it up anywhere with your cell phone, which is awesome. Another thing that this radio does that most of them don't, this one actually has Bluetooth programming. So you can get on your smartphone and actually program it from your phone with font, frequencies, PL tones, whatever it may be, and put it in there and actually label it with your phone without ever even having to read the book on this thing, which is totally awesome. And folks, this radio, it looks kind of to me like a Harris radio, like a military first gen Harris radio that they would use, and it is tough too. It is a big radio, it's got good battery life. I really like the programming. Now, this one does 136, 74, 200 megahertz, which is kind of an oddball band, and it does the 400 to 512 as well. This is an all-around cool analog radio. It does a few other things that we don't need to talk about, like crossband repeating and all that. Crossband repeating is kind of an oddball thing. A lot of people don't use it, but it will. Bofang does make some other cool options in different radios, so you should look it up. Folks, for the money, you cannot beat these Chinese radios. I've been involved in these Chinese radios for a long time. Even before I went out and became a ham myself and got the license. Like I said, a lot of people get confused. You do not need a ham license to use these radios and fool with them and listen. Only to talk on. And in case of emergency, you are an outdoorsy person and you get lost, this radio will save your bacon. I almost guarantee it. If you are savvy and have watched a few videos on YouTube, how to get around the controls and operate them the way it should be. I honestly think, as far as FRS radios, what people use, kind of like the Walmart radios that you get, give one to the kids and have them, run through the forest. You can listen in on all that on one of these radios if it's programmed right. FRS, GMRS, MERS, and something else you can get on these radios is the WX band, which is the analog weather bands. A lot of states, it was very popular in the 90s. You would tune in your radio, your scanner to the WX, and you find out the local weather, just like that. And this was before social media and smartphones and all that jazz. It was an awesome setting, and they still have it. And a lot of people don't know about the weather analog bands that are still broadcasted, even to this day. So you should look it up and get familiar with your controls. Get on the internet and figure out a list of frequencies for your area and see what's going on. Be the first to know. Something else I want to talk to you about while I've got your attention. All of these apps, guys, that you see on TV, you see on people's smartphones about scanners and what's going on, like Pulse Point and all that, I'll tell you, and you won't believe it, but it's absolutely true. Law enforcement agencies, fire, and all this broadcast their stream through the internet so you can pick it up on your phone. The only difference is between hearing it live on this radio and your phone is it's slowed down, sometimes even up to 30 minutes. So if you're listening to something that's happened, it's already happened usually minutes and minutes and minutes ago. Catch the live, actual stream when it comes through on the radio at real time instead of counting on those apps. That is another huge misconception in the United States right now. Everybody's got the listening and scanner app on their phone. Folks, it is slowed down, and they slow it down on purpose for good reason. We'll get into that some other time. But I'm telling you, these Chinese radios, you gotta get one. Put one away, keep it. Even if you don't plan on using it, it's good to have just in case of an emergency. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.